Armzybams.
Yes, bro. Yes, man.
What are you saying, bro?
I'm good, man. Well, man, thank you so much for inviting me through,
Thank you
man.
for coming,
Honestly.
man. It's an honor.
So, the honor's all mine, bro. What are you talking about, man? The project you're doing, like the people you're showcasing, the voices you're putting out there, like we need more platforms like you, man.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Who would you say you are? How would you announce yourself to the world? And what would you say you do?
I would announce myself to the world by being a creative and a person that loves to help people without asking for anything back. I'm like my mum. My mum is like that. Like she loves helping the tribe, like the whole family. Like, yeah, I'm just that person that, like, if I know, bro, like someone can make use of this, or I've got information that I can help someone with, I'm just that person. I'm always in the shadows. I always say that. I'm always in the shadows in the industry.
Have you always been like that? Like charitable with your energy and time?
Yes and no. And what I mean by that is, at first, like, especially coming from the media industry, I was very, like, reserved. And then it got to a point where if I didn't voice certain things or make people aware of certain things, it would affect either the project or it would affect the relationship. So I had to build a voice within myself. Yeah. So now I'm very, like, open. Like, if I feel like a project is bad or like something's going wrong, like I just put it out there. So I try to be that voice within the industry to stamp stuff down.
Well, what were you like as a kid? Like primary school?
Primary school?
Yeah.
Man,
what can you remember of your personality back then? What type of person were you?
Eager to learn, but always failing.
Were you like in all the top sets or middle or
bottom? Middle to low, but I was always looking at the people in the first set like, nah, I want to sit on that table with you lot. Like, you get me? I was always that drive there, like was always like, okay, I don't know this equation. Okay, cool. Like I'm gonna learn it, and then I'll still fail at it, and I'm like, cool, I'll try it again. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, God. Good.
What did you want to be when you grew up? Do you
remember? Do you know what? I actually don't know. I just didn't want to be still.
Okay.
That's one thing. Like, I just wanted to be very practical with things. Like, funny enough, I was talking to my mum about this the other day, but like I used to, like, our old computer, like, for like 12, like, even way before that, like old computers and like the old FM radio, whenever it used to break, I'd love just like opening up, seeing how it works, like not knowing how to put it back together and then spending like 3 months trying to put it back together. Like, I just loved like I've even growing up, I always wanted to learn how things worked without me knowing what that method is or that technique. So I was always like wanting to discover. Curious. Like, you see, even these microphones, like I'm seeing these microphones, but my brain, the side of my brain's thinking, oh, this component works with this. Oh, this coil does this. Da, da, da. So I've always wanted to know the ins and outs of things.
Yeah. Are your parents still together?
Nah. So my mom married my dad in like 89, I think, 90. And then had me at 91. Yeah. Then there was this mad family feud. Yeah. And then my mom basically during that time, the war in East Africa was happening in Somalia. Okay. And then I was born in Saudi, went to Yemen, and then came here when I was like just before 2. Yeah. And then we had a complete disconnect, and then I reconnected with my dad about 22, 23 before he passed.
As in you were 23 years old?
Yeah. So it was like good 20 odd years later, I reconnected with him for a bit. Yeah. And then when I was trying to like figure out a way to go see him, he passed away. Oh. So like there's still that like unanswered questions, like weird void, especially from his point of view, because I was always open with my mom, like, oh, how was my dad? Like, how was the relationship with you? Like, and as I was growing up, the questions were increasing in maturity. Okay. So it was like, oh, like, what was he like? Oh, he was an engineer and he was doing all of these type of things, you get it? But then when we reconnected, we only had a very small window of reconnecting. And then I think New Year's Eve of 2020, 2011, 2012 is where I got that phone call when I was out that he passed away. And then since then, it's just been, I think that's the reason why I moved the way I move, because I'm trying to feel something that hasn't been filled and I can't get that back. You get it? So, yeah. So that's where it's like, I'm trying to be that person. So when I do have children, I can be that dad for them and be like a whole person.
Yeah.
You know?
So what was it like growing up without him? Like what do you think, I don't know, do you think it affected you in any other way than what you just described? I hear what you're saying, like him not being around makes you want to be around for your kids when you have kids. Are there any other...
Yeah, do you know what's mad? Like, I grew up with my stepdad, which had my younger siblings. So I'm the only child of my mum and dad. So my dad was previously married before my mum, has older children. And then obviously my stepdad and my mum had children, which are like my younger siblings. So on both sides of the family, I'm like the only child. Right. And then from growing up, like at the age of like 6, 7, like questioning my mum, like, oh, why have I got a different surname? Like, right. And then my mum's like, not brushing it under the carpet, but trying to make me focus on something else. So as I'm growing up, I'm always thinking, bro, I'm different. Why am I different in this family? Why am I different? Yeah. All of these things. So eventually when it got to that point of knowing where I'm from and who I am, and then like with my stepdad, like there was always like this weird communication barrier, even though he raised me. So like for me, it was like, I always wanted to know my real dad. Like, you get, as much as I loved my stepdad at home and he raised me, and that, like, it was like there was that weird void at the same time, because I felt like there wasn't any lessons that was passed on to me from my real dad, if that makes sense. So like I had to learn a lot from another father, which is a whole different thing, because he's looking after all of the younger siblings. Yeah, so yeah, it was interesting.
Was it easy for you to accept your stepdad as your stepdad?
Yeah, I had to accept it. Like if I was rebellious from it, I wouldn't learn the things I wanted to learn. Like I had to be a student even within family.
Love that. Love that. But was he... Okay, so there's I had to accept it, and then there's I wanted to because he was a solid gut.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which was it?
I think it's the second one you said. Okay. It was like, it wasn't like, okay, cool. Like it, for me, it was like, it is what it is. Like you get it. At the end of the day, he's still connected to me through my younger siblings. Okay. So it's like, how can I make the best out of this relationship while still maintaining the relationship he has with my younger siblings? So even though I from that side of the family, I'm the oldest. So like I had to set a pace for my younger siblings and a environment, because like we came from a different country. Like my mum was still learning English. Funny fact is, she learned English through watching Scooby-Doo when she came to this country. She always brings that up. So but like it's such a great area as well, because obviously he's come from a war-torn country, hardly knows English, and obviously he knows much more English now. But it was like, how can I, because of that communication barrier, because I grew up here, and at that time, like my strength in my mother tongue was growing. It's like, how can I communicate that with him? So that obviously there's still that weird barrier, but then I'm picking up on the nuisances, his actions, how he behaves around his friends. Like when my uncles would come around, like they obviously, like they would come chill, and then I'd wake up like 2 a.m. They're still watching the fights and stuff, and I'll go downstairs, watch the fights with them and all that. So that's how I had to soak up the relationship with them, rather than verbal. It was more action than verbal.
Okay. I had to be a student even within family is a quote that I'm keeping.
Yeah, get that on the t-shirt, man.
If anyone asks me, I'm going to say I made it up.
Go on. I'll give you the intellectual property to that. Take that, man. You heard it on camera.
I love that. So how did you get into like what you're doing now? I know that as a kid, you had a curious mind, how this works, how that coil works, this component with that. Talk to me about your journey into this type of mindset and how it got you to what you're doing now.
It's a weird one, because I always had that feeling when I was a kid of like, what things worked. And then I think when I was like in my early 20s, I really loved media and photography and stuff. Like I had a digital camera in the family, and then like started snapping with that. And then I think like after my dad passed, I was in this like weird limbo. Like, what do I actually want to do? Like I left school with like 2 GCSEs, and that was in like drama and music. So throughout, like, I'm the only family member throughout my whole bloodline that is in like creative arts, like in that field. So it's like, how can I maintain that presence within my family to not be, I don't know how to put it. It's like to not be that person that is like, oh, like everyone's being a lawyer, everyone's being a doctor, everyone's in the army, but you're picking up a camera. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like a form of defiance. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm very curious with this.
Yeah.
And I've got to not defy my family, but show that I can make something of myself from that. So I had to like do like lessons. Like I was always skip a bit before that. Like I had a bit of a breakdown with like my family, and that like just after my dad's death. And then I was homeless for a while, like over 2 years, on and off, sleeping at different houses. Then it got to a point where I was very embarrassed to stay at my friends' houses. So I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to stay at my uncle's. But then what I would do is find like the longest bus routes in London and then tap my oyster, go sleep. So I'd take the bus from like Ealing all the way to like Liverpool Street, that number 11. And then from there, like 25 to Ilford. So that's like, I can get 4 hours of like broken sleep. And then you go what I'm saying? So like from there, it got to a point where one of my friends had a YouTube channel, and then he stopped having his YouTube channel when he had a child on the way, and he knew I wanted to get more into the camera stuff. So he gave me like a first proper camera. And then from that time, I was like, I have to make use of this. I have to make something from this now. Yeah. So then I grew up with like a lot of artists, a lot of producers, a lot of people within music and media, and just like asking them, oh, can I jump on this project? Oh, can I just be in the background, just like soaking things up and just know? And then that mentality of knowing how things work came in without, from a subconscious level. So I'm like learning how people operate in a camera, and learning how people to operate in musical equipment and all that, just soaking it up and then just trying it myself. And then during that time, now I'm homeless with a camera and an iPhone 3G. Yeah. I'm YouTubing how to do this, how to do that, how to do settings on a camera, all of these things. I'm blagging my way into like nightclubs. I'm blagging my way onto like sets. I'm blagging my way into certain rooms with artists and stuff to just like be around that, be soaked and submerged. Then it got to a point where I got out of my homeless situation, and then I'm taking more photography before I went into video. So I'm doing stuff in nightclubs. I'm doing stuff at like behind the scenes. And then I'm like, okay, what do I actually want to shoot now? Like I've got all of the skills. I've built a strong network. I can get spaces in certain places and whatever. Now, what do I want to do? I want to have like healthy conversations. I want to showcase artists that are on the come up. And I found like, not a gap in the market, but when Instagram was growing, I found a way that was like, okay, how can I make consistent things on here for people? So then I started dabbling, doing some documentary work. And then, just like showcasing more of like community-driven people that are impacting the community, showcasing that. And then, everything was up from there. Like even now, I'm still rediscovering myself every time, every project I'm learning. And then that overall sum is I love problem solving. Like speaking all that to you, if I was to sum it in one word, I love problem solving.
Okay. Any type of problem in particular?
I think maybe problems that people don't want to take on, because I've seen so many people neglect certain projects because it's either the person is a headache or they don't have the sufficient equipment. But then if I see the opportunity in growth within that person or within the brand they're building or anything, I'm like, you know what? I don't mind taking that bullet. I don't mind that person ringing me up at 3 a.m. knowing, you need to do this and da-da-da. I don't mind that because I can take that on. So how can I best adapt with what I have with the people I can showcase? And it's always a learning curve, and always like even the project I was shooting last night was like there was a couple of problems and I had to solve it there and then, like knowing, okay, cool, like we can duct tape this thing and do this and okay, but the audience will never know that. They will never know like you're sweating behind the camera with like 30 kilos of gear and all of these things. They'll see the end product. But for me, it's like I love that pressure because it brings out the best in me.
Yeah. You grew up in Northwest London, yeah?
Yeah, grew up.
Any involvement in gangs?
Nah, but I was
up?
always around it. Always around it. Like the first shooting I saw was when I was like 13.
Wow.
That made me understand the severity of where I was living. And if I didn't watch my back, even though I wasn't in it, like who knows what would happen. I've seen people die around me. I've grown up with people that was in and out of prison, all of these things. So like I had to make sure that I wouldn't say distance myself from it, but I didn't plug myself into it 100%.
Yeah.
Like even though I was associated with certain people in certain areas, I was always seen as that person that can pass through certain places.
Yeah.
And it's maybe because of how I positioned myself in the past.
Yeah. What do you want for your channel and your brand? Would you say you have a brand?
Yeah, so right now, this is why I'm so bipolar. So, like, I've got a small production company with two of my good friends that's called Bad Milk, and then I'm a part of like a couple of music collectives. So By Any Means, I'm a part of Vanta Black, and I'm a part of DYG.
Okay, just quickly. With the music, what do you do in the music?
So like executive producing.
Okay, like you're like Dr. Dre. Or is it videos or the actual tune?
Like the tune and the video and then how it's marketed and everything. So that whole conveyor belt.
So you're Dre and Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah, but I'm Armzy. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Yeah,
no, of course.
Armzy
but
Bams.
like, yeah, man, like for me, it's like it just comes to problem solving and loving that process. Like I love how artists are able to come up with a concept and flesh that into lyrics. I love how a producer is able to be inspired by a sound or be exposed to a sound and create and curate something from that. So I love being a part of that journey and help guiding them from an industry standpoint, because sometimes I'm in the room with A&Rs, I'm in the room with execs, so I know how their brains are thinking.
Yeah.
So if I can bring that down to the people that are starting off, I'm giving them a better chance on succeeding on stuff they love.
Yeah. So like, can you use Logic?
Yeah, I can use Logic.
If I was someone who was good at retaining information, so like learn something and remember it and build on it. If I was good at that, I think it would be me instead of Kanye West. Yeah, I swear to God, because I've got the ear, but I have no idea
the logistics and execution. So that's the thing with me.
There's too much. Yeah. There's too many buttons. There's too much going on. There's too many things you can do.
Yeah,
I can do something with someone sat there and me telling them.
Yeah,
but that's the only way.
Then that's the strength. You work on exactly that. You maneuver on exactly that, and you be honest with the people that, I don't know even how to click the record button. Like that's it. Like it all comes down to communicating and honesty. And you will propel more quicker than you trying to learn for the next 3 years.
Exactly.
I'm that crazy guy that will still learn for that 3 years, but I'll still communicate within that period of time. But you as your strength, if you know, I know what I'm hearing and I know how to communicate that, but I don't know how to do it. You just bring that person on board, and now you're championing someone else, and you're relying on trust on that person, you know, and they're learning from you because it's like they're taking direction. With everyone, they've got a specific direction in their head, but then when you actually relay that to someone, like that is a whole skill set in it. So
yeah. What is your dating situation?
My dating
relationships. Yeah, what's your thoughts on all of that stuff, and how's that stuff for you?
I've never been in a long-term relationship. I've always mingled around. I think it's from what I was hearing the previous guest saying, like just that, like I can't really get into a relationship if I'm not 100%.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying? So I think I'm at that moment in time where I'm still recalibrating and figuring myself out, so then I can actually contribute to the relationship. And I feel like because of like my busy schedule and the people I'm always around, and like 1 minute I can be in London, next minute I'm in Scotland, like that, like that type of maneuverability won't be sufficient within a relationship unless they're understanding of that. And the women I've dated have not been understanding of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, cool. If that is not an understanding from the multiple women I've been around, then that's something I need to fix myself before getting into a relationship, because I actually want to invest. I actually want to build something with someone and grow. I want to have children. I want to do all of that stuff. But I can't do that if I'm not 100%.
I hear that. But being 100% in your case, you're saying is being fixed in one place.
I wouldn't say
part of.
I kind of. I would say for me it would be more of a having more time for me and that potential relationship compared to like how I would invest. Like,
are you ever gonna be able to switch off though from the?
That's why I need to find someone that can understand that. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, for me to find someone that understands that, I have to go through all of these preliminaries with everyone else to see, like, I love this trait in you, but do you love this specific trait in me?
Yeah.
You get it? So like, I have to go through all of those preliminaries for that to happen. You know?
Do you want you want to be married and have children, have a family someday?
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely stability.
Okay. Do you have like any views on today's women, today's girls? Is there a difference? Okay.
No, go finish it.
Well, I was gonna say, is there a difference between, pre-social media?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's definitely that. I think there's a higher benchmark for men now to be dating women now. So much of a higher benchmark. And if a man doesn't come with 3 things in that criteria, they don't even fit that criteria before you even open your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, sometimes that scares me, because it's like, bro, like, I've got more attributes that are better than having a money, having a car, having a house and all of that stuff. So it's like, I don't even, it makes me belittle myself before I even started. And that's something I'm reconditioning now to be like, nah, you know what? Like, sometimes I can be that guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, like I said, getting into that preliminary, knowing what making things work to see if they work.
So what okay, so you said a trait that you like in a girl is that you can see yourself taking serious as someone who gets what you're doing and what you got to do and what it comes with. Tell me like another 2 bullet points that you would want this girl to come with or have or be like.
An understanding and room for growth.
Okay.
Definitely room for growth with me. That's one thing I'm trying to look for someone, because I feel like a lot of the women I've dated feel like they're already at that level and it's like that at that place, but there's always room for growth. And I feel like with like I've like a lot of my good friends have so much, like, they've got beautiful relationships with their women. And it's like, I even like break them down sometimes and like, why? Like, it's that brain again of trying to problem solve it. But I feel like that is the wrong mentality to transfer over to a relationship. And it should be on a vibe and a feeling and like who you can be open to. There's been certain women I can't be open to because I know how their mind state is. Like, they'll tune out, or there'll be certain women I've dated that I know they'll pass on certain information. So it's like, how can I go about that? But I think that's just something that I've got to kind of Rubik's Cube myself and know, okay, cool, like how. But I feel like I'm also contradicting myself, because it's like, I can't be at 100% and then go find a relationship, because I feel like in Islam as well, it's like once you get married, you complete half your deen. So it's like, I need to go out there and at 50% and then find that other 50%. So it's like, there's no written rule for it, really. There's behavior benchmarks for us to go out and check out.
Did you go mosque yesterday? Yeah. Did you?
Yeah.
So you're religious, yeah?
Yeah. I'm trying to be much more religious than I was.
Okay. You pray 5 times a day?
No, I don't. And I don't want to be that person that says, yeah.
No, keep it real. Yeah, keep it real. Because there's people listening who, just want to hear the realness. Because they're them too, kind of thing, you know? Like, how important is Islam to you? Yeah.
It's very, especially in my household, it's very important. Like my mum comes from a very religious background. So it was always distilled into me to understand religion and accept and understand other religions around you. Because each religion has that ego of our religion's the best. We are the one. We are the one. You know? So for me, it's like it's that human, like even if you put religion to the side, every human should be accepted for who they are and what they can be capable of.
Yeah.
And religion is the top up of that.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't say I'm religious. I'm not religious, but because I don't like the division and the separation that it causes. But I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power, for sure. Money. What are your views on money? What are your thoughts on money? It's an uncomfortable topic.
Then let's make it uncomfortable, man.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I'm going to say, bro, first thing I'm going to say is we're the only species on this planet paying to be on this planet.
Paying to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
We're the only ones. We're actually the only, like you don't see a rat or a dog or anything. Bro, we're the only, it's true though.
Why am I picturing dogs walking around with wallets?
You know what I'm saying? But like for me, like that has made me understand.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Think about it, bro. When that hit my head, I was like, nah, that's so true. That's so true. But the thing is, as like money makes this world actually go around. And the thing is the imbalance of money. That's the most important thing from first world to third world. If you look at the history of resources, most of it comes from third world countries, but most of the money is in first world countries. So there's a complete opposite that's happening.
Isn't it because first world countries are taking?
Of course. Of course, from the days of pillaging, from right now where you're having cyber warfare, you're having resource warfare, all of these, we're always at war. Like with us, we're at war with ourselves, war with our neighbors, war with countries, war with resource. All of these, we're different levels of war, you know? And money is always the bottom root of that. Always. But for me, especially in my industry, money is very important. Because right now we're in a time where social media and the way the advancement of internet has advanced different avenues for people to make money, especially within the creative industry. So many people are able to monetize themselves now, which I feel like is a beautiful thing. Like you don't have to be mediated by a label or mediated by a hedge fund and all of that to go do your thing. You can invest in yourself and then reap the rewards of it, depending on how tuned and your mindset is. You know, most of our outgoings are already going out before money has come in.
Yeah.
So how can we best tackle that? Knowing what you actually spend a month, knowing what you spend on leisurable things, maybe cutting down on certain brand things you buy. There's so many different ways to tweak money. But at the end of the day, like, we're the only species living on this planet and paying for it.
If I've got say I've got $1,000, I can't afford to buy Louis Vuitton trainers, but if I don't, my friends will laugh at me. So what am I supposed to do?
Laugh at them when you buy the stock.
Okay.
That's the best way. Like, I forgot who was saying this, but this guy was being laughed at because everyone in the crew had Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all of that, and he just had like unbranded clothes. And then when the laughing died down, he's like, I own what you lot have purchased. Like what you lot have on your body, I have a stock. And that's gonna appreciate over a period of time whilst what you are wearing is gonna depreciate.
Yeah.
That made me understand the importance of where to place money now and where to invest in. Like even sidestepping, like I'm starting to get more into the Web3 world, getting into like more of crypto and like decentralized stuff. Yeah. And money is going to be funneling that way within the next 5 to 10 years and adopted more in society. You know, now you can, certain places you can buy a coffee with Bitcoin now.
Really?
Yeah, there's certain places that you can go do that, like. But yeah, man, I think money is such a difficult topic and it's uncomfortable, but the more we start to speak about these things, like, I'll give you an example. I was very skeptical on speaking about money when I was first charging for videos. Yeah. It's such a like a passive thing because you don't want to lose that person and you don't want to overprice. Yeah. So, but you have to know what your worth is. So it's like, how do you find that best middle ground? And it's just being open about the process. Like, people just want the result. People don't even care about how it's done. But the more I've started to drill into the clients I've worked with and the people I've worked with, that this is actually what it takes for you to, like, I use this example of, like, certain people want to put a cow on the moon for £10. And what I mean by that is they want to shoot all the way up there. The impossible for exactly. Yeah. And no one really makes people aware of the difficulty in that and what it takes to execute that. So that's why, like, before I was saying I had to be that voice in the industry to say, nah, like, this is how much it actually takes, or these are the things you actually need to do to get there, and remove that ego and be realistic with the logistics.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a pressure on men to walk around like they've got a certain amount of money to other men and to women that they're trying to date?
Yeah, like, definitely. I feel that in so many different ways. And it's at a point where, like, that's the first thing, like, when you come across that person, before you've even smelt the pheromones of that person, the first thing your eyes are going to see is what that person's wearing, what trainers they are, like, how much they are, or, like, what if you've got jewelry, if you've got, like, a nice car. All of these things add to status, and I think that's that segue into that conversation of status. Like, everything is always down to status on social media, in real life, but there is definitely that war on men with that, and I feel like even within the gender of men, there's that in-house competition for men to be that higher alpha or that higher band of person.
What are we supposed to do about that?
Be honest. Just be honest. Like,
but say there's 10 of us. Say there's 10 of us men, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, be honest, but no one will. No one will be the first to step forward and be honest, because out of fear of critique from the other 9. Yeah. So because that's the world, right? That's what's happening. So no one ever is honest.
Yeah, but
they're scared to be laughed at.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good you're saying that, because it's the 9 other people that need to change, not that one person. Or you need to deviate to another 9 people that might have the same understanding as you, because it's an external thing. That person is already humbled themselves internally to say, "Rah, okay, I'm broke," or I've got most of my outgoings is going on Louis Vuitton or whatever. But them already being honest, and then the other 9 people laughing about that, that's not the right people to be around. You're not going to grow with them. Now, if you're trying to be at their level, that you're already deteriorating the person who you want to be.
Yeah. So the other 9 people who are like you there probably aren't 9. There's like 1 or 2. If we think about the world, right? Or, okay, let's say London. Let's just say London. Say there's 100 people in London, just for maths' sake. I can't be bothered to go into big boy maths. Yeah, 96 are going to be those 9 people who would laugh at you. So, and then the other 4 are the other 3, because you're 1, right? So the other 3 are dotted around and are so hard to find because most people are the 96. Yeah. So this is the issue.
Yeah, man.
Even though I know, you know, but I'm meeting you now after all these years.
Yeah. So it's now it's catch up. Now it's that time to build.
We met now.
Yeah.
But I was looking for you for how long? You were looking for me for how long?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most of the people you've met were the 96, and same here. So what are you supposed to do when most people are the 96? That's the difficult.
That's a very difficult one, and I feel like there's not a right or wrong way to go about it. The only thing I would say is to distance yourself from those 96 because that's their elevation of growth, and your level of growth is going to be completely different.
That's why I've got no friends.
I'm your friend, man. I'm here now, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
know what
man.
I mean?
My
Like,
guy, come on, man. Come on, bro. Yeah, man. But I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Like even
the ones I grew up with. And,
that in itself, like,
yeah.
if you look at the people you grew up with,
Mm.
and then the people you're around now, and the people within that transition period, you'll see a big difference.
Absolutely.
And that difference is selfishness, and not in a term of like evil selfishness, but in selfishness of growth. You know, like okay, I've had to stay away from certain people, even though as much as I love them, like they're not good for me.
Yeah.
So me being around that, I'm deteriorating now. So I have to detach myself from the 96 people. You know, even if I have to walk the woods alone and find those people, the other 3 that are like me, it will happen, because that's what I'm searching for. I'm not searching for that in the other 9 people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. What are your views on mental health? Men, women, people in general, children, adults, whatever. Just
this is a topic that I'm trying to speak about a lot more from a personal point of view, because I have depressive states, very depressive states. And especially in the industry I'm in, I'm going to speak from the industry and then outwards into the world, because within the creative industry, and I see it firsthand, there's so much mental health. And the first thing I should say is there's a big difference between mental health and a mental illness. That's one thing that is never separated. Everything's molded into one. It's the same with our physical health and having a health condition. Right. It's the same thing with our mental states.
Right.
A lot of it comes down to the environment that we're in, the people, the imposter syndrome. I see that a lot in the industry. So much imposter syndrome, especially being a person that works with a camera, seeing how people are in front of camera and when the cameras are turned off. I can see that level of imposter syndrome. And later on, those things form into that later on forms into illnesses, you know? And for me, it's like, there isn't, like, you see the thing with, I don't know if you've seen that brand BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
So it's
the
a
gym?
No, it's a BetterHelp is like a platform for it's like online therapy.
No, I've
basically.
never
So obviously during COVID that has blown up much more. So what I'm trying to go into basically is that has become the norm for outputting how you feel about mental health or what state you're in. Like just going online, speaking to someone and then locking off.
Right,
you know?
Right.
Like it's that thing now. Like I've been in therapy sessions. Like right now, to me, this is therapy. Okay. You've uncovered certain things about me that I would have never thought about and made me relive things. So now when I leave, I'm gonna be much more of a better state. And especially with men, like we're in certain groups that won't speak about these things. Like, oh, how do you actually feel, man? Like I call up my good friends every day and ask them, bro, how are you? Be honest with me. And that in itself is therapy. People expect that because I can't pay that change and sit in the room with that person with their glasses and their clipboard and whatever, that's the therapy I need. But there's therapy, and like you're a guy that goes gym. You know what I'm saying? That in itself is a therapy. You know? Like us speaking right now is a form of therapy.
Absolutely.
These are the type of methods we do need within any gender or any community you're in. Just speaking things out, like, because just once you internalize these things, you're actually messing the chemical imbalances in our body, you know? And like a lot of the foods we eat, a lot of the clothes we put on, the environments we're in, they all contribute to the deterioration or the upbringing of our mental health.
Okay, so a lot of the clothes we wear, how?
Okay, so these are things I'm learning, so don't hold me to it.
Okay,
Go do your own research.
Yeah.
But like,
before you answer,
Okay.
Years ago, I did a project for an organization where I created a fashion show, and I had 3 models, and they each wore 3 outfits each, right? And we had an audience, and each model had to wear something that would speak about their mental health. So there was like, holy clothes, walk slightly different.
Bro.
There was something neutral, and then there was something bright, and they all could choose their own 3 different states of clothes and colors and whatnot. And to me, I was trying to say with that show that there is a correlation in society between what we wear, how we present ourselves, and how we feel and our mental health. It could be masking.
Yes.
And sometimes it could be by accident being honest.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
It's one or the other, innit?
Yeah.
Like, it's either concealing and I'm so happy you said that because I was that person masking things. Yeah. And the thing with masking is it breaks down to so many levels. Like, you can tell when someone's masking, or you can't even tell whatsoever, and they're still able to be actionable within society. Yeah. Which is a scary thing. To me, that is scary because I've been that person that is able to mask these things. Like, I can be in a meeting with someone and still be pitching something, but like these thoughts and stuff are going through my brain. And then like if I've left that room, like it's playing on even more. And then when someone comes back in, I have to be turn that mask on. Yeah. And that in itself is a dangerous thing. And like that needs to be explored much more. Like I'm wanting to connect with much more neuroscientists. I was speaking to you over the phone about this. Like I'm wanting to get into that understanding on how the brain works. We're in a perfect age now where the theories and theses on the human brain that were brought up from the 50s and 60s because they didn't have that technology at the time are now being answered now. Yeah. So I want to jump on that bandwagon and understand how the brain works. So now it's like taking my 10-year-old self from opening up stuff and now like through obviously like imaging and all these things on how the brain works now. So now I'm bringing it back around to cultivating that now. So, and especially trying to link that within creativity. So right now I'm trying to build a project where, you know how everyone says, oh, we're on the same wavelength and da-da-da. Yeah. I'm actually trying to test that. Okay. So I'm trying to put people in the same room, make some music and scan their brains at the same time. Okay. And then see if there's actual certain parts of our brain firing exactly at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting study.
Just on that quickly, similar, there was a study done amongst men and women, right? Where it was a university in America, I think it was, and they or was it might have been a university here actually in the UK. Can't remember. Do your own research, people. They wired like something to men's genitals and a clicker and their brain, and showed them like a lot of erotic images, like lots of different erotic images, and they would click on what they were attracted to, and then when they looked at the results, what they clicked on, they were being honest. Like they clicked on what they were attracted to, and then when they got shown the results, it was what they were attracted to, because the genitals and the thumb and the clicker are congruent. When they did it with women, the women lied. No way. Yeah. The women were aroused by every single image, but only clicked on like 2 images. I think one was like a guy walking on the beach, and one was like straight sex, you know, a man and a woman having sex. And then, but they got showed a bunch of other images, but didn't click on any of them, but they were aroused by all of them, because I think it's because women want to present as a certain way. They don't want to look unflattering. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas the men, they don't care.
Like all of us will be like, oh, we like this one, this one, this one. But then the same thing with women. But then it's like, no, like I want this and this, but I want all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. It's but that's an I'm gonna look into that. That was very interesting. Look into that. Yeah, man.
Any other future endeavors?
Like I'm trying to be. So I'm starting a podcast series within the creative industry, speaking about mental health, speaking about just giving voices to creatives that I feel like are not championed. And trying to morph that with like neuroscience. That's been like my new thing now, like diving into that. So I'm gonna be interviewing some neuroscientists, professors, just picking their brain, like no pun intended, but like just picking their brain on like certain things as well, because I feel like there's a disconnect with this generation we're in now and how things are working inside of us. We're always knowing what things are working outside of us. And I feel like I want to be that person to start bringing those conversations out whilst I'm learning. But it's a selfish podcast for me to learn from professors without going uni, basically. But I want to start championing more voices, more stories. I have this thing where like a lot of creatives or a lot of like musicians are like always interviewed by, oh, you've got this coming out, and all of these things. But I want to be that person like, how are you? Like, how's your upbringing? How, like, exactly how you were speaking to me, but like much more tunneled onto the creativity and the process of stuff rather than the result, because everyone is always exposed to the results.
Broski, thank you so much for coming to speak to me.
No, thank you so much for having me, man. Hey,
Nice
there
one.
you go. Thank you, man. Love.